Today's episode of the Cedric Phillips podcast is brought to you by the year 2018, as it was an up and down year for, I think, many people, but certainly those within the WWE universe. On today's episode, Joe and I talked about everything that happened in the year 2018 with WWE, and we decided to do a little award show. So if you're looking for Wrestler of the Year, Tag Team of the Year, I think we did Feud of the Year, and we did some ridiculous stuff too, like Person we enjoyed making fun of the most, Most Improved Wrestler, biggest holy shit moment of the year, just all of it. We had a lot of fun just kind of reviewing the year that was in the WWE universe, and there were definitely some very high highs, like Becky Lynch, and there were some very low lows, like Big Cass and Enzo. So hopefully you be prepared to enjoy. It's not exactly the Slammies. I'll call it the CeddyP and JoeyB award show. Let's go with that. Before we get there, of course, we'll do a quick little intro here from our friends over at Jule Vera, Julevera. Do enjoy their music. You can find it on Spotify, YouTube, and any other place that you do get music. With that, we are underway for the, I can't believe I'm going to say it, CeddyP and JoeyG award show. Let's go. I let you promise words to me. You can take the lead if you show me what you mean. We can build this life we dream of. I don't wanna wait, making plans for yesterday. Oh, don't wanna talk about it, don't matter where we go. It's time to start the sun now. Oh, I let you promise words to me. Baby, I believe if you show me what you mean. All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of the Cedric Phillips podcast. I am your host, Cedric Phillips, at Cedric A. Phillips on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And it's a good thing, Joe, they can't hear the previous introduction that was edited out because it was not good.
Yeah, had they heard it, they would have probably been under the impression that this was the last episode of the Cedric Phillips podcast about pro wrestling.
It was not good. It was not good.
So
It's supposed to be a year-end podcast.
we don't have time for the BDS adventures, of at least not to the degree we have been doing it, because this is a very jam-packed podcast.
Yes, it is.
But that was a good BDS adventure for the day.
A little bit of a minor one there, a little kickoff there where I just lost my mind during the introduction, but you can edit that stuff out, so that's lucky, I would say.
Do you still have the 100-foot Ethernet cord?
Gone. Returned it last weekend.
Whoa.
Yep, got my $65 back.
How'd that feel?
Yeah, actually not bad. I brought it in. So here's the fun thing. So gigantic cord, it was still all like tangled up in my apartment. So I just unplugged it from both the desktop and the...
It just started pulling?
And yeah, I just started pulling. I didn't really try to wrap it up in any real fashion. And then, it was very, very long. It was like 150 feet or something. So then I just walked into Best Buy and people were just looking at me like, who's this psychopath with this gigantic cord that didn't even attempt to like put it in a bag or anything. So then the Best Buy employee is just like, what's going on? I'm just like, yeah, I'm returning this. I don't need it. And he's like, is it like damaged? And I'm like, no, it's just too big because I'm an idiot. And he's like, all right, go over here.
I like that you subjected yourself to one last beating from the Best Buy people and all of the other customers at Best Buy just because you needed to do that.
Yeah, I see your glances on December 23rd. I see them. As you're doing your Christmas shopping, I see them, I feel them, and guess what? I'm getting my $65 back, and now I bought this other one on Amazon for like $12 that someone linked me to, and it's the perfect length, it's the perfect everything.
What did you use for that money for? Cheesecake Factory or no?
No trips to the Cheesecake Factory recently.
Dude,
it's been a hot minute.
I went to the factory last night.
Ooh, what did you dial up off of their extensive menu?
I dialed up like steak. Some sort of steak tempura or something like that. It was like steak teriyaki.
Probably steak Diane.
No, it wasn't steak Diane because it came with wasabi, mashed potatoes, and tempura asparagus.
How was that?
It was pretty good. It was fine. It was the Cheesecake Factory.
That's the whole experience. It was fine.
My wife decided to dial up the old like mini chicken zing-zongs or something like that. And it's just chicken tenders, but it's like why it has that name, nobody knows. And it's like in quotes on the menu, and well, she got what she got, and she's like, "Man, this is a lot of chicken tenders." I'm like, "Yeah, that's what you ordered, chicken tenders, lots of them."
Yep. Is that exciting? Chicken tenders are just... I don't understand how someone goes to a restaurant and orders those. I just don't get it.
I mean, there are people that just don't have taste buds, and they just straight up run the old, like, I don't like anything but plain hamburgers and chicken tenders.
Yeah, that's going to be a no for me.
Yeah, so, I mean, I have a friend that, like, her husband, they go to, like, this insane fish fry place where, like, the fish fry is outrageously good.
Okay.
Chicken tenders.
No, stop.
Do you know what they have at Boiling Seafood Crawfish?
They actually have chicken tenders there?
Chicken tenders.
Oh, I didn't know they had chicken tenders on the menu.
Yeah, they do.
Well, can't recommend that.
Anyway, so this is the year-end show.
Yeah, we're gonna do a little year in review. I decided we thought about doing an Impact one, but then I was like, I don't know. It's like the end of the year, a bunch of stuff happens, so we made some categories, and now we're going to announce our winners of each category.
What if this was just the year in review for Impact only, and we just talked about Impact Wrestling only, but just like a year in the review as if we've been talking about it on the podcast week after week. Quick disclaimer at the start here: this is only WWE categories.
That's correct.
There will be no New Japan talk here. There will be no TNA talk. There will be no ROH talk. There will be no Shimmer talk. There will be no any indie talk.
Evolve.
Yeah. No.
I can't think of any other, but
there will be no AIW talk.
There you go. This is all WWE all the time, since that's what the podcast is primarily about. So with that out of the way, which category do you want to start with?
I think I would like to start with something at least a little serious. How about we start with let's go with the best pay-per-view of the year.
All right. Do you want to start or I start?
You can start.
All right. My selection.
Oh, we should tell everybody this is across all brands of WWE.
That's correct. It's across all brands, and also neither of us know the answer from the other person.
Correct.
Which is important because there could be some overlap.
If there's overlap, I will mention it, but I also have alternates that I can talk about in case there is overlap, because you're going to probably say most of the things that I would have said about a particular topic. But I will switch to my second topic and then say, but I also picked whatever.
Yeah, I have a backup for most of them. So my pay-per-view of the year is NXT TakeOver New Orleans.
Well, that's one.
Okay. The card, for those of you who do not remember, it began with Adam Cole in the ladder match for the inaugural NXT North American Championship, defeating EC3, Killian Dane, Lars Sullivan, Ricochet, and Velveteen Dream. Then we had Shayna Baszler defeat Ember Moon for the title. And then we had the Undisputed Era defeat the Authors of Pain, or as we call them around here,
Up.
And Pete Dunne and Roderick Strong, where Roderick Strong turned on them and joined the Undisputed Era. Aleister Black defeated Andre Cien Almos Numero for the NXT Championship, and then Gargano and Ciampa had their first of many matches, an unsanctioned match. Since Gargano won, he was reinstated to NXT. A fantastic show from top to bottom.
But did they have a hold harmless agreement?
They did not sign that. Thankfully.
Well, mistake.
For you, sir.
Well, I also chose NXT TakeOver New Orleans for many of the same reasons. But I'm going to talk about my second choice, which was WWE Evolution.
Good choice.
This pay-per-view was terrific, but more importantly, it was extremely, extremely historic. And, normally the WWE, when they talk about something being historic, it's mostly them just blowing smoke, and we're kind of sick and tired of hearing about it. But in this case, I feel like they actually warranted the historic level of hype that they gave it. So just a quick go through the card here. There was Nia Jax winning. Oh, I'm sorry. Lita and Trish Stratus defeated Alicia Fox and Mickie James, which was a extremely subbed out match because it was originally supposed to be Trish versus Alexa Bliss in a singles match, Lita versus Mickie James in a singles match. They made it a tag match. Then they had to sub Alexa Bliss out because she was hurt. But the match was still good and it was fun. Nia Jax won a Battle Royal for a future title shot. Toni Storm defeated Io Shirai in the finals of the Mae Young Classic. Becky, Natalya, and Sasha Banks, or Bayley, Natalya, and Sasha Banks defeated the Riot Squad. I believe you want to bet off of that?
That is correct, in which one of our listeners had bet me a beer at Grand Prix Vancouver tomorrow that Ruby Riott would be in a singles match at Evolution. So no.
Shayna Baszler defeated Kairi Sane for the belt. Becky Lynch defeated Charlotte Flair in Last Woman Standing for the SmackDown Women's title, or she was defending. And Ronda Rousey defeated Nikki Bella for the Raw Women's title. All the matches, the big matches, all delivered. Nothing was bad on the card. The main thing is it felt so routine. That's why I have to say this is just such a meaningful pay-per-view, because it didn't feel like it was like, oh, we're putting on a dog and pony show to show that the women can do this. It was just like, no, here's a WWE show that happens to be all women, and it's really good.
And it was really good. It really was.
Honorable mentions for me, NXT TakeOver War Games, which has already been growing on me more and more, even though I don't love the War Games match itself, and I probably will never watch it again. The two matches involving Black and Gargano and then Ciampa and Dream are absolutely phenomenal. And TakeOver Brooklyn 4 also on the honorable mention list for me.
Weirdly, all of the good pay-per-views are like
not main roster.
Not main roster shows. Nice.
Oh,
Very
also
nice.
Those were all produced by the NXT crew.
Oh darn, hate that.
So like no Kevin Dunn shaky cam, just much better production values. And also, you may notice none of them feature the normal WWE announce team.
Ooh, that's also true. That's a very good point, actually. No Michael Cole.
Not a single flaw amongst these pay-per-views.
Well, I think it's natural to now transition to worst pay-per-view of the year. Are you ready?
Oh, I'm very ready.
I have my answer dialed up here. I'm going to go with Crown Jewel.
I mean, that's so obviously the right answer.
In which it's just, I haven't watched the show. I'll never watch the show. I've read the reviews of the show and I've heard what you had to say about the show. It's going to be a no for me, dog.
Really, really horrible. We'll talk more about some of the events of Crown Jewel later. But just, wow. And not only was it terrible, but just like Evolution, it has its own context that is disturbing, because Saudi Arabia literally murdered a journalist like a week before this thing, and probably shouldn't have been doing business there right after that came out. But I mean, money talks at the end of the day.
Well, I'm on the Wikipedia page right now for WWE Crown Jewel, and you guessed it, the main image is Kane and The Undertaker against Triple H and Shawn Michaels, to which I say, what year is this?
To which I say, a combined age of greater than 200.
That's correct. That is correct. Alrighty, folks, we're going to move on to our most improved wrestler of the year. Are you ready?
Oh, but before we do that, I just want to make mention of another horrible pay-per-view that pretty much has gone unmentioned because of how bad Crown Jewel was.
Okay, sure.
And I have the card up, so I'm gonna go through it real quick.
This should be nice.
It's WWE Extreme Rules 2018. Do you remember this stinker?
I don't really, but I will when you go over it.
Okay, here are the matches. Ready? 7 minutes and 58 seconds. The B team defeats Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy for the tag belts.
All right.
8 minutes, 18 seconds. Finn Balor defeats Baron Corbin and their feud went on for like 7 months. Carmella, in 5 minutes, 23 seconds, with James Ellsworth in a cage above the ring, defeated Asuka with more overbooking than you could ever imagine.
Yeah, I remember that one. Okay.
Shinsuke Nakamura defeats Jeff Hardy in 6 seconds to win the United States title. I believe Randy Orton ball kicked him or something.
No, I believe Shinsuke
ball kicked him. Yeah, he ballsed him. He might have gotten RKO'd before the match, too.
I must say, great U.S. title run for Shinsuke. Really good.
Yeah, almost as good as AJ's world title run.
Yeah, really good.
Kevin Owens defeated Braun Strowman in 8 minutes and 6 seconds in a steel cage where he got thrown through it, obviously.
Yep.
Bob defeated Roman Reigns in 4 minutes and 51 seconds via pin?
That sounds wrong.
Maybe that's just wrong on the site.
That just flat sounds wrong, yeah.
Harper and Rowan, the tag team champions, defended against Daniel Bryan and Kane in 8 minutes, 17 seconds of sterling action.
Made me some money on that match.
Alexa Bliss defeated Nia Jax in 7 minutes 22 seconds in an Extreme Rules match. Why was that an Extreme Rules match? AJ Styles, champion, defeated Rusev for the WWE World Championship.
I remember this one. It was not an Extreme Rules match, and there was literally no chance Rusev was going to win.
And they were both faces.
Yep.
And in the main event, one of the worst Iron Man matches in history, Dolph Ziggler defeated Seth Rollins, where the fans were counting down throughout the entire thing because they just wanted it to end.
That was a brutal match. It was not good.
So, yeah, that card was horrible, and I thought it deserved special mention because it was the worst. True, because Crown Jewel and Greatest Royal Rumble were basically house shows.
Oh, I forgot about Greatest Royal Rumble.
But Extreme Rules was a real, honest-to-goodness Sunday night that I wasted my life.
Never getting that one back. I mean, I did too.
All right, where do you want to move on to now?
I would like to go to Most Improved Wrestler of the Year.
Oh, I like it.
I will let you begin.
My choice is Patrick Clark, the Velveteen Dream, who I think he was already good coming into this year, but this year he truly improved himself to the level of a main event level talent in NXT, and he has prepped himself very nicely for his eventual main roster run. He is a terrific storyteller in the ring, and he doesn't require a ton of high spots to make those stories happen. Honorable mentions for me, Carmella and Rhea Ripley and Shayna Baszler, all women.
Well, you have my selection was also Patrick Clark, the Velveteen Dream.
So we're 3 for 3 on overlap so far.
Yep, and my runner up would be it would actually be Buddy Murph Dog.
Oh, that's a good choice.
Murph Dog Millionaire. Not sure that Murph Dog can tell a story yet because that's not asked of him to do so in 205 Live. But as far as ring work goes, he's kind of unparalleled at this point. I think all of his matches are just simply amazing from ring work wise. It actually reminds me a lot of AJ Styles when I was young. Of just like, I can't believe this guy can do all of this stuff. But then AJ got good at telling stories and everything, and hopefully Murph Dog will get the opportunity to do that.
The guy that he reminds me of the most is actually Chris Benoit. He has a very similar body type, and he can do basically everything. All of his stuff looks crisp and good and tough, and he's just got a great attitude in the ring, but the promo work isn't there yet, and like you said, the storytelling, not so much yet.
Well, the difference between the Murph Dog and Benoit to me is that the Murph Dog can fly.
Yeah, I mean, Benoit could fly too. He was one of the best juniors in the world before you started watching him, basically.
Well, fair enough. I'm going to go to Least Improved Wrestler of the Year now. And for this one, I am going to go with Kona Reeves.
But he is the finest wrestler of the year.
A staple of the podcast. Actually, he hasn't been recently because he's been removed from television again. I wonder why. Kona Reeves is horrible in every way imaginable. And this was their opportunity of rebooking him and making him into something. And even his squash matches were bad.
They tried to give him another push. Do you remember what his signature moves are?
The Hawaiian drop.
Mm-hmm.
And then the falling elbow.
The falling elbow, I think if we had a category for worst move of the year.
It's easy that. I mean, that move is bad. And there's a lot of him screaming, "I'm the finest" during the match.
Of that. Yeah, a lot of that. He's horrible.
Unfortunately, he's got a banger of a song.
Yeah, I wanted to make fun of his song, but I went to go listen to it right before the podcast, and I'm like, whoa, I might be putting this on the best list.
And my runner-up least improved wrestler is Jinder Mahal, because nothing's changed outside of, instead of very angry, he's shantying, but his ring work is the exact same horrible nonsense that's only looked good against one wrestler ever, AJ Styles.
All right, I have my least improved wrestler of the year, and it's another staple of the podcast, Large Casserole.
Oh, great. Good choice.
Because we forget this, but he got a main event-ish push earlier this year against Daniel Bryan, and he couldn't have a good match with Daniel Bryan.
It was slow and plodding and boring.
I mean, also another person with just a horrible sequence of signature moves, a large boot, and of course, a jumping elbow, the Empire Elbow. My runner-up is a classic dirt worst, Tamina, who continues to get TV time for reasons that no one will know outside of Vince McMahon and possibly that she knows where the bodies are buried. My other person that I wanted to make mention, though, of here is AJ Styles.
Ooh, bold. I like this. I like attacking AJ here.
Because I really didn't enjoy his year. He had a hugely long series of disappointing matches. All of his feuds, I thought, fell pretty flat. I'm looking forward to him getting back a little bit of his edge here, which it looks like he might be with stuff that happened at the end of the year here, because his title reign was very underwhelming and very just kind of was just there. I mean, it was nice to have the champ on TV, on Raw, but still, it didn't really feel like it either felt like his challenger had no chance or like you knew the finish was going to be kind of dumb.
Yeah, challenger having no chance, Rusev. Finish being dumb, anything Shinsuke Nakamura related.
A lot of Samoa Joe ones were dumb too.
Yeah, I mean, at least the matches were somewhat entertaining, but yeah, the finishes were not good.
Like, I would put that as worst feud of the year. I didn't think we were going to do worst feud of the year. I know we're going to do feud of the year later, but I would put that Samoa Joe feud as the worst feud of the year.
I enjoyed the Wendy.
It was so cheesy and terrible. AJ Styles loves a cheesy, terrible family-based feud.
I do think it was very stupid. I don't know if it's worst feud of the year. I have to think about that more because I haven't thought about that, but I can see where you're going with this a little bit.
I mean, there's a lot of terrible feuds involving Dolph Ziggler that you can just kind of automatically
shoehorn in there. Yeah, they're never good. Okay, let's go ahead and get this one out of the way here. Most fugazi moment of the year.
I mean, this is one of the best categories that there is.
Well, that you made this category, so go ahead.
Number one with a bullet. Enzo Amore doing his shtick at Survivor Series in the crowd and then getting removed by the security lady.
Yeah, that's like the only thing that can win this, unfortunately.
I mean, like,
there's a follow-up. There's a follow-up, but
right.
I have a runner-up.
Okay, here, let me hear your runner-up.
Big Cass breaking script and like attacking the midget when they told him not to.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. Just give him beatdowns when they were like, sir, don't do that. And he just did it anyway.
Here, I got two more good ones. Bailey and Sasha Banks having couples therapy.
That's just not great.
Horrible. Yeah. And Shane McMahon winning the best in the world at Crown Jewel.
Oh, yeah, that's a lot, too, actually.
And he wasn't even in the tournament. That was the best. And we're still talking about it months later.
Well, that's because they make us talk about it because it's part of the storyline now.
No, I know. That's what I mean. Like, they're still putting it out there.
Yeah, it's just brutal, man. Just brutal.
Yeah, those were all very fugazi moments.
Absolutely. Hard to argue, honestly. All right, that's out of the way now. We're going to go to... I'm going to go to most popular wrestler of the year.
Okay. You want to go first?
I'm going to go first.
Okay.
Hard criteria. And this is one of those you make your own criteria. Who's the most popular? Because popular can mean a lot of different things.
I mean, if it's who sells the most merch, it's John Cena every year.
Well, yeah, but it's not that. So I think bell to bell, beginning to end of the year, my answer is Seth Rollins. I think this was a very good year for Seth Rollins. It unfortunately ended on a dull note. And there were some very high highs and a couple of lows, most of which involving Big Dolph Ziggler. But also the most recent pay-per-view match he had against Mean Dean Ambrose was horrible.
Yeah, it was like an affront to humanity.
But ignoring that, Seth Rollins had like that incredible display in that gauntlet match, put on a lot of great pay-per-view matches, made some new additions to his theme music, and was just a face from bell to bell that people really did enjoy and was easy to get behind and root for. So Seth Rollins is like kind of the company baby face this year. Was a lot of fun. Like I said, most of his matches I think were pretty good. And my runner-up for this is AJ Styles for basically the same reasons.
Mm-hmm. Those are the week-to-week grinders.
Yeah, this is the house that AJ built. Face, plenty of feuds. Wish some of the matches would have been better, but they were what they were. And these were the company guys who were here every week, so it's a credit to them. They win the award.
Yeah, I had them both on my short list because for the exact reasons that you did. It just, there has to be something said for like the guys who carry Raw and SmackDown, not just the big shows. And those are the two guys by far that carry those shows. But for most popular wrestler of the year, I went with the person with the hottest peak. So I went with Becky Lynch.
Hard to argue.
She definitely has basically hijacked a couple of shows by herself recently. And she's as hot as we've seen a woman in the industry ever be. So the other person that I wanted to make some mention of is Braun Strowman, who managed to stay ridiculously over despite some of the worst booking I've ever seen for an entire year.
Well, I must say, the flip floppy do.
That didn't do him any favors. He lost to Brock Lesnar twice, horribly. He tag teamed with a 10-year-old at WrestleMania. It wasn't a sterling year for the booking, but like he took it all in stride and continued to still be very, very over with the fans the entire time, except for the heel part, which nobody cared. Nobody bought.
Well, I mean, nobody really bought. I think that like some people kind of bought it like a little bit, but at the same time, they just had to flip them back again pretty quickly. So, I mean, there's some value in being versatile, and I respect Braun for that. He really is just the second coming of the Big Show, really.
Yeah, he is. That's
just what he is.
That's what he's going to be.
Yeah, and you know what? That's not a bad job to have in life, man.
The Big Show was near the top of the card for 20 years.
And I'm sure he made a lot of money, and he was in movies and did a bunch of other things. You know, Braun Strowman is in that new Will Ferrell
Sherlock
movie.
Holmes movie, I think.
Yeah, like so he's getting his, man. Have fun. One of the things I like about Braun is you can definitely tell he's always having fun doing this.
Yeah, he likes pro wrestling. Like he likes being involved in it.
Yeah, so I respect it. You want to treat him like the Big Show and flip flop and have him win a title eventually, which will be a pretty big moment. Cool. I say go for it.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, I'm going to go to the opposite here, which is the most hated wrestler of the year.
Very tough criteria on this one. I went with the person who actually drew heel heat for the year, Tommaso Ciampa.
Okay.
Because truthfully, he was the most actually hated wrestler of the year, where he was trying to draw heel heat and indeed did. You could easily make a case for my two runners-up, Baron Corbin, Constable Corbin, whatever you want to call him, the middle manager at fucking JCPenney, and the sloppy Nia Jax, who both probably got louder heel reactions than Ciampa did at various times during the year, but overall mostly are just drawing go away heat, whereas Ciampa was drawing like, I hate this guy because he's such a dick heat. So I'm going to go with Tommaso Ciampa, who is going to be talked about a lot more during the rest of the podcast.
Tommaso Ciampa will get a lot of play in this podcast, no doubt. Most hated wrestler of the year is a former client, no longer a member of BDS Incorporated.
Has he cleared waivers yet?
I think he has cleared waivers. I'm still waiting to hear back. But Baron Corbin, you are the fucking worst. You are. You know, I've been thinking about this more and more. I wonder how management looks at Baron Corbin's run as the GM, because, you know, if he just did everything they asked him to do, which he did, in theory, he did a good job.
And it isn't his fault.
Yeah, and it's not his fault. And you know what? If we are comparing him to a middle manager and how much people hate middle management...
Exactly what he is, right?
Then he did an amazing job. An amazing job.
And the best part is he actually is the middle manager, as far as like... The people at the top are making horrible decisions, and he has to enact them and do what they say. And it doesn't really matter if he does them well, because they're stupid.
Yeah, it's just kind of interesting if you just dive into it a little bit, because like it was a pretty bad time because it wasn't fun and it wasn't interesting. And every time he'd show up, it's just like, God damn it, not again with this doof. And also, for what it's worth, he was like winning like 0 matches during that time too.
His record this year is I
bet it's horrible.
It has to be like Kurt Hawkins level bad.
Yeah, because I don't remember him winning very many matches at all this year.
No, I think he beat Finn Balor once, maybe.
Yeah, remember how we were able to predict exactly how Finn Balor would beat him too?
The banana peel.
Yeah, just roll up. That's one, and then Corbin will win one, and then there will be some sort of nonsense blow off to the feud. But then the feud just kind of kept randomly going.
It went for like the whole year. There was something involving a kid's playset.
Yeah,
it was really bad.
It was a lot. It was a lot. But Baron Corbin is my most hated wrestler of the year under that criteria. And then for the most hated wrestler of the year for like the character criteria, like you had for Ciampa, I actually went with Shayna Baszler.
That's a good choice,
because she was just like the ultimate bully.
Yeah, and did all of the things that bullies do, and even did the thing that when you stand up to the bully, like she like goes underhanded in order to beat you.
Yep. So that was my alternative pick. As now I'm going to transition here to we'll go to wrestler we enjoyed making fun of the most.
Oh, come on.
I will start with you, Mr. Bags.
I mean, we had almost an entire podcast about Kona Reeves. So, I mean, he has to be number one. Like, we've been making fun of him. He's never had a moment to shine. Never once. Like, his career highlight is being the subject of ridicule on the Cedric Phillips podcast. That's
not a bad highlight.
That's his career highlight. And he has a great theme song. Other than that, wow. Dude is horrible. He doesn't do anything well. He's not a good promo. Even his vignettes were bad, which is really hard to do with the WWE production crew. Just wow. And the best part about Kona Reeves for this year is he was doing that character, and then they got EC3 back, who does the character like 100 times better. And it's just like, well, let's just take him off TV. He hasn't been seen or heard from in like 6 months. And he was indeed the bell keeper at an indie show last weekend.
Oh, now this is interesting. So I just went to Kona Reeves' Instagram page, or excuse me, his Twitter page. Okay. Mm-hmm. And he's still tweeting as though he is the finest and the finest view and everything else. And it looks like he might have a lackey, folks. It looks like he might have muscle. Do you know who the muscle is?
Is that Fabian Eichner?
It is Dan Matha. Dan Matha he's in a ridiculous yellow shirt. He's got sunglasses hanging off one of the buttons, and I believe Kona's in the ring.
Holy shit, they're trying to combine it as much. That's going to be a suck vortex. That's a suck black hole. If you come too close to that, you're done. Jardunzo.
Yeah, this is a lot. Kona Reeves is oh boy. And I see a match here in Milwaukee. Kona Reeves went up against what's this guy's name? Djokovic?
Oh yeah. Donovan Jajakovic.
Yeah, who I think is actually supposed to be pretty good.
He is pretty good.
Yeah, but like there's a little Twitter video of him giving a back suplex off the middle rope. So good for you, Kona. My answer here is easily Big Cass.
Yeah,
by the way.
Those are the obvious two picks, right?
Yeah. It's tough to look at Cass's trajectory and really not laugh. I know it feels like it's punching down in some sort of way, but it's just really funny.
Do you remember when Brie Bella did that suicide dive where it looked like gravity just suddenly hit her and she went to the ground? That's Big Cass's career. Cass's career is best represented by a suicide dive from Brie Bella where she literally crashed headfirst into the ground.
Big Cass, you could have had it all, rolling in the deep. And now...
keep your head up, Big Cass.
Now you are at some independent somewhere, working on your spare tire. Carmella is dance breaking with R-Truth, your former girlfriend, potentially former fiance, and it's, as Newfound Glory says, all downhill from here, my friend.
Yeah, it really is. Just 1 year ago, you were receiving, you were coming back from injury to receive a main event push to wrestle against one of the best wrestlers in the world. And now, here we are at the bottom of the barrel.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
As an honorable mention, I also decided to put Bob on the list.
Bob Lashley?
Just because we called him Bob so many times.
Yeah, Bob. I think Bob's actually having fun.
Yeah, and we had fun making fun of him, but it was mostly like calling him Bob and just, joking around about him. It was more of that was more of a lighthearted making fun of rather than a punching down attack like a Kona Reeves or Big Cass.
Yeah, just so pose. So take a look at the glutes.
So butthole. So he does the same pose that I've seen in many a porn, and it's very awkward.
It's funny because I think it's funny because there's a wide range of wrestlers that if they were doing this, I would be like, seriously, Vince, can we get this off the television? But for some reason,
Bob isn't one of them.
For some reason with Bob and Leo, I'm like, oh yeah, that's funny every time. And it just really shouldn't be.
Lashley.
Yeah. Bobby. He's a good little lackey too, Lio Rush is. Good for him.
He would have won Lackey of the Year if we had that category.
Well, we're gonna go to Rookie of the Year then. And I'm gonna let you go first. I'm curious what you say.
I mean, there's only one answer. I don't even have a backup.
All right, Ronda Rousey.
Ronda Rousey, yeah. I mean, I mean, like, is there any other even real rookie for the year? Because it's like, if you're saying made their WWE debut this year, that's different. But to me, rookie means like it's her first year wrestling and she's killing it.
Yeah, so like I had two people as honorable mentions, and one of them was Lio Rush, and the other was Carmella.
Yeah.
As people who are just like kind of fresh faced a little bit. I mean, Lio Rush has been wrestling for a little while, obviously. Carmella really hasn't been. Well, this is her first year on the main roster. She
won Money in the Bank last year, so it was like I couldn't.
Oh, okay, that's true. Yeah, so I can't really. Yeah, I mean, it's Rousey, obviously. It's Rousey by a lot, and I'll let you elaborate. But yeah, she's had a hell of a year.
I mean, I don't think she's had a fail match yet. Not a single time has she gone out there and had a match that you were like, ugh, that was really bad. Some of the stuff with her promos and her smiling, obviously, still needs to be, the kinks need to be worked out on that. And she needs to stay away from the man on social media because she's getting destroyed repeatedly.
Yeah, it's not good.
It's not pretty. And, you know, there's some unsavory things about Ronda Rousey personally that, you know, we don't have to get into. But as far as in-ring work goes and like commitment to the business, it's very clearly there. And she did a great job all year. And she's seemingly very humble and very much bought into WWE.
Well, her matches are absurd. She has infinite star power. And I think part of the reason she has star power, which is, this is going to be an interesting take, is I think people are waiting to see her fuck up in the ring. Mm-hmm. And it just doesn't happen.
No, it doesn't even get close to happening. And she's very smooth and she's great at selling.
Yeah, she's insane at selling. Her ramp up moments in the match when she's coming back are fun. Her ability to like transition into various things that she learned when training for the UFC are a lot of fun because you don't see that normally in wrestling.
Yep.
So like her arm bars and everything else, the way she can contort and twist her body around to do cool things is just a lot of fun. She obviously, you know, they need to do a little work on the makeup, I think.
Yeesh. That's her choice, by the way.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Like the smoke monster makeup?
Like she brings her own makeup people.
All right, well, if she's happy with it, good for her. I think it looks a little bit ridiculous, but whatever.
I don't like it.
It's a small critique.
She randomly was like made up to look Asian at the last pay-per-view, which I thought was really weird.
Yeah, I don't really understand what the process is behind any of that. But I will say, an amazing first year. And you know what? You actually, if you've been watching wrestling for a while, you knew after the first match with Kurt Angle, Triple H, and Stephanie, you're just like, all right, she gets this.
Yep. Yeah, it was one of those ones where you're like, all right, well, here we are. We know she's going to be good. The thing that you touched on that I think is really great about Ronda is her moveset is very different.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Which I think is really cool.
Yeah, I love it. And I'm thinking back to that Angle Triple H Steph match now. Man, Steph and Triple H are so much fun when they want to be.
Yeah, they are.
They're really fun.
I'm so ready for them to take over the company.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody is, honestly. But it's like I'm ready for him to take over the company, but then like when Vince struts his ass back out there to like have the interaction he had with AJ or The Miz on SmackDown, it's like, well, Vince is still fun too.
No, I want Vince to be a character on the show. I just don't want him to have to run the show from the back anymore.
Okay, that's okay, so I'm down with that. That's completely legit.
I would love it if Vince McMahon was the on-screen commissioner of all WWE, like Jack Tunney was when I was a kid.
I'd like that. That'd be nice. That would be nice. All right, let's go to holy shit moment of the year.
Okay.
For me, it was Roman Reigns' leukemia announcement.
Yeah, that's the only real possible winner, I think, again. For sure. I mean, that was one of the only thing that happened this year where it was like, oh my God, turn Raw on.
Yeah, I was it's still kind of surprising where, you know, they don't break character much. But they allowed him to break character and do everything that he wanted to do with that promo. And, you know, now they're turning it into a storyline as they oftentimes do, which I'm very much in support of. But it was very, very telling. And now it makes you look at Roman Reigns much differently, where we were all kind of tired of him, even though he'd always put on good matches. The promos were all fine, but it was a pretty stale character. If and when he comes back, it's going to be a welcome return. That's for sure.
For sure. And I got nothing else to say. I'm rooting for the guy. I hope everything works out. Even if he never wrestles again, I just want him to get healthy, and I hope for nothing but the best for him.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I don't even have a backup. I don't know about you.
I have two backups.
Okay.
Second place, I had Nia Jax breaking Becky's face and inadvertently turning her into the hottest act in WWE. The whole thing with like her bleeding and like standing up and just like looking so badass. It's like you don't ever see that on WWE programming anymore. And it was just such an awesome like image that Becky will have forever, like in part of her highlight packages. And then the other one I have is Charlotte ending Asuka's streak at WrestleMania, which I guess looking back on it isn't that surprising, but at the time it felt very surprising.
It did feel very surprising, almost to the point of like kind of being upset about it.
Yeah.
But totally good with it because I adore Charlotte. So that's why I'm good with it.
And I mean, there's nothing like if you're going to put someone's got to eventually beat Asuka. Charlotte's the right person to do it. And then, you know, it's not like Charlotte held the belt for the whole year and was like boring us to death with like the same old shit every week. You know, they tried something totally different in the summertime. So I applaud them. The women's booking overall for the year has generally been pretty good.
It's been great. I've been really, really happy with it. So, all right, we're going to go to another laid back one here. Worst fall from grace for the year. I'm making you start this one.
I mean, I'm just going to put Enzo and Cass together.
Yeah, they're so much fun.
As number one, because, like, you know, it's really tough because both, like, this should have been an act they could have done for, literally the next 20 years, opening up shows. And then somehow their egos kind of both got in the way. Like, Enzo thinks he's a better entertainer than he actually is. And while his dismissal turned out to be something that maybe was handled incorrectly by WWE, because all those charges were basically proven to be complete lies.
Yeah, it looks to be all be false or incorrect. Yeah,
but the guy just wasn't getting it, and you could see why that they could have brought him back, but they're not going to bring him back.
Yeah, but why?
But why exactly? And Big Cass, I think he thought he was more important to the future plans of the company than he really was. So he started to act out like on the European tour with the going off script with the small person, and just overall just not good. And then he was just kind of like unceremoniously dumped. You know, like
I remember when you saw the day he got released and we're just like, whoa.
Yeah, just all right, see ya.
Yeah.
And like I don't miss him even a little bit.
No, at no point have I ever been like, man, Big Gas was fresh. I wish he was on the screen. It's like, nope. If he was like, oh no, debuting an Impact, I'm like, I'm not okay, cool, I guess.
Yeah, sure.
Just there's no emotional attachment to Large Casserole at all.
Did you have somebody else?
Let me see. I had Enzo number one, and then again, I'm going right back to Punjabi.
What's his win-loss record this year in non-mixed match challenge matches?
I mean, I gotta say, this guy was the SmackDown champion
for the better part of like a year, like 7 months.
Yeah, for like 7 months, top of the card. They were building like the trip to India around him and everything, and I still think that they did some nice work with his character, and that kind of shows you how the WWE machine works, right? Like if they want to get behind you and build your character and make you an act, as long as you're willing to play along and buy in, like. Great entrance, great music, let him cut promos, great look, couldn't wrestle for shit, can do, in my opinion, basically everything else. Mm-hmm. And now he is shantying.
And no one knows.
That's it.
And there's no explanation to why either.
Yeah. And now he was like a hot act in the company, whether you liked his ring work or not, which I think we all agree was like pretty mediocre to bad, except for when wrestling AJ. He was an act that people disliked. I thought he did a pretty good job given the situation that he was thrown into, and never again.
It really is very similar to like JBL's run, right? Where it's just like, all right, well, we're done here. And that was the end. Like JBL just lost to Rey Mysterio at WrestleMania, and that was the end of that. Like there was
but like JBL got to last longer.
Yeah, he did. He did get to last longer. But it very similarly, like, you know, kind of won the title out of nowhere. With a previously like mid card or low card act, and then like, but he embraced it and did a good job. And I actually do feel for him a little bit because I think while he's happy to be in the company and he'll have a job probably forever, I think he did what was asked of him in that run.
I think it's probably pretty difficult to like be at the top of the card and be main eventing shows and all this other stuff and be winning these matches to end the shows. And then it's just like, all right, you're just like bottom of the card again, so you can just go and go away. And like, yeah, they let him like win that Fatal 4-Way at WrestleMania and stuff like that. So like, it's not like they completely shit on him, but it's just like, yeah, you know, we're just going to slide you back down the card and probably never going to fire you up again. Thanks.
Yeah, they like
for everything.
Like you did. We asked you to do something and you did it, and now we're done.
Pretty much. Which
I have one other person to add too.
Oh, hit me.
And it's Sanity, who went an outrageous like 6 months without being on TV.
Yeah, but I mean that also implies, right, that they were like even anything to begin with, which they've never been on the main roster.
Well, no, but they were a hot act coming in.
They were a hot act coming in. I can't argue that.
It was very Ascension like, where they showed up. They were like they had a big debut, and then they're just like, we're kind of off it.
Eric Young, I hate you. I still think they probably have something planned for them with this new opportunity bullshit that they're parading out here, which, by the way, is just total lies.
Oh, yeah, of course.
I don't know if anyone's buying into this or anything, but it's just like, oh, yes, everyone's getting an opportunity. Give it 2 months, please.
Another good person for this list would be Zack Ryder.
So I was thinking about Zack Ryder while we were making these lists. Dude, he's just nothing.
Yeah, he's
just not good.
No, he's not, but I think he tweeted something out recently where it's like he hasn't been on Raw, I think, since April.
Okay.
And he's not that far removed. Like before, like last year, I think he won a title, like in 2017.
Yeah, sure.
So that's a pretty big fall from grace. I mean,
yeah, I mean, I can't really argue. It's just every time I think of Zack Ryder right now, every time I think about him, I'm just like, hey, you kind of suck, dude.
Also, he did go from Emma to Chelsea Green.
Well, good for him.
I don't know if I think that's another little bit of a fall, personally. But
yeah. I mean, I just there's nothing about Zack Ryder, you know, like you got to remember also, like that fun run that he had with Dolph Ziggler was like the beginning of the decade.
I was going to say it's like 2010 or 2011.
Yeah, and then it's just like that was your moment, and that's cool, and like they let him win at WrestleMania, which was also cool, but his character has no depth or substance. He's not that good of a wrestler. It's not like he's that good of a promo. It's like, what is Zack Ryder's elite skill? I'll tell you what it is. Taking someone's finish.
And whining.
Yeah. Those are his elite skills.
A lot of whining.
So, you know, good run. Enjoy collecting your action figures. We're moving on to the next category.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest rise of the year.
This is an interesting category. You can go first.
I will start with my answer, which I think is actually kind of a runaway. Drew McIntyre.
Oh, it's an interesting answer. I actually didn't have him on my list.
Fair enough. I think Drew McIntyre, if you take a look at, like, obviously his original stint with the WWE, getting iced, going around, wrestling, all this other stuff, going to NXT, pretty good push in NXT, won the title, all other stuff, gets hurt, comes to the main roster, and it was just like, okay, so he's here, unclear what they're going to do with him, because it's totally conceivable if they just, like, do nothing with him on the main roster. Like they did that before. Obviously he's a different wrestler now and looks different than everything else, but like it wouldn't surprise me if he would have been like shoehorned into like a Bobby Lashley-esque comedy role, or just like a mid-carder who's angry but doesn't win, stuff like that. And instead he's bulletproof.
I mean, are we sure he's bulletproof? He's gonna lose again on Monday, or he lost on Monday, and it's just like I have an issue with that, because it feels to me like that's what we want to happen, is for him to be the biggest riser. But I feel like he's mostly like been stuck lackeying for Ziggler, even though he's clearly the star of the team. And they've been kind of hesitant to really like make the star that he is.
I think they're just kind of slow burning it. That's all. I don't think that they're hesitant. I think they know. Because like his losses are just they're very few and far between. He's booked to look like I mean, you can't like, sure, these losses have happened. Think about what he did to Kurt Angle, man.
Well, I know. I'm not saying
just like put out the pasture.
I'm just saying that I look at Drew McIntyre and I say, yeah, they're just slow burning it. But whenever I worry whenever we say that about anything in WWE, because they move on to the next big thing awfully quick sometimes.
They do. I just think that like he was thrown into a lot of programs to be at the top of the card like right away. What like the build with him and Ziggler took a little bit, but like they were in the Shield feud as like the nemesis, and then he was involved with a bunch of other things in the top of the card and continues to be. And I think like he can have a fun feud with Balor or Ziggler for a little while, but I'm expecting like would I be surprised if he won the Royal Rumble this year? I would not.
I wouldn't either, but I would still put him probably in the bottom half of the top 10 people I would put on as an odds-on favorite.
Fair enough.
My choice was Elias. Because he went from a novelty act basically to releasing an album and
the album's gas.
having all sorts of like network specials about him and getting to interact with some of the really big stars in the company. Like when John Cena comes back, he interacted with Elias. Who else put over Elias really strong? It was somebody else recently that was, it might have been Mick Foley that put him over like real strong in a segment. And it definitely feels like this dude, he is kind of has the Jinder Mahal problem where his ring work is not up to snuff compared to the rest of his work. And this face turn has been a little stinky, but it's working with the fans. Working with the normal fans, we just don't like it.
It's true. The regular fans do like it. It's over.
Yeah, it's very it's very over, exactly.
People are clapping when he's singing the songs and everything. Like it's over.
And he has the crowd in the palm of his hand, kind of,
Yeah, no, he's doing fine. I like that. That's a good pick. I like Elias' pick. I didn't think of him much during all these categories and picking winners, so good call there.
All right,
here we go. We're going to do the entrance portion of the podcast.
This is the fun portion.
All right, so we're going to have to cue up a little bit of music here.
True or false? This is the category you spent the most time on.
True.
Yeah, I think same for me.
True. Do you want to do best entrance music or best entrance?
Let's do music first.
All right, well, then I'm going to need to hear, for best entrance music, the theme for Seth Rollins.
It's on my list, correct, yes. I have there's a lot of good themes.
I like Seth Rollins' theme a lot with the addition of Burn It Down.
Yeah, because I didn't think his theme was any good before that. And now I
like that song.
I mean, it's fine, but it was too generic. Like it didn't have that one moment that really got you going, and that's exactly what they added.
Yeah, now we have that. Now I don't know. Did you see the one Raw where Burn It Down was infused into the song over and over and over again?
Oh yeah, I did, but I don't think I need that.
Yeah. So that one where it's just like, there's obviously the hook where it hits Burn It Down once, and then like it doesn't ever say it again. There was one episode of Raw, because someone made a video out of this, where like Burn It Down was just like in the song, interwoven in the song multiple times, and it wasn't on the beat or anything like that. It was just like kind of getting thrown in there.
Yeah.
And I was just like, yeah, this has got to be a test run, because that's not.
Well, it hasn't been brought back, right?
No, it was really, really bad. So more Seth Rollins love here on my side of the podcast. For you, what song do we need to play?
So I weirdly have a huge amount of love for songs that are rapped by people. My choice is EC3, which I love his theme. I think it fits his character perfectly, and it just comes across just perfect for what EC3 is all about, like that elite character. I love that, and I love the song.
I am in the top 1%.
And that's what makes you just you and me. I'm in the top 1%. I'm in the top 1%.
So I like the song. I'm not in love with the song yet.
Fair enough.
but I like the song. Like, so I don't dislike the song at all. And I'm waiting for me to like fall in love with it, but I do like it. And I like his entrance a lot.
Yeah.
So,
do you have honorable mentions? Because I have a bunch, and I think these are fun. So maybe.
All right, honorable mentions. We won't play these.
Yeah, no.
But my honorable mention is actually a song I listen to regularly, which is "Bruiserweight" by for Pete Dunne.
Great song.
And then the Undisputed Era's music, because I like doing the boom. And I actually think that's really it right now. What are your honorable mentions?
So I only tried to pick songs from this year, like new songs for this year, because all of those choices are great. So I liked all of them.
Okay.
And my second choice, again, these are all from this year, so they're probably a little bit deeper cuts. I really think Lacey Evans' song is great for her character, and
it's good. It's really good for her character.
And it fits perfectly with like her entrance, and like it just works. And then under the same vein, I think Bianca Belair has a very similar thing of where her music hits, it's her immediately, and it just feels right. And then last but not least, I thought they did a really, really good job with Shinsuke Nakamura's remix.
The remix is really good.
Like, because it does,
I like the remix.
It gets rid of the sing along.
Yeah. So people can't buy in when he's a heel.
Right. But yet the song is still really good and really just a well done song.
Yeah, no, I buy that. I'm into that. Okay, good answers. You ready to go to worst entrance music?
This one took me the longest by far.
All right, I'm going to let you start here. Make sure you leave a little space for our editor to put some music in.
You sure you don't want to go first?
Should I go?
Yeah,
first?
Go first.
All right, my answer. This, I want to let everyone know listening. I took 15 minutes to figure out what the worst entrance music was. I went through like the entire roster page, and I have settled upon Randy Orton's theme music.
Wow.
So go ahead and hit that track.
I hear voices in my head, they counsel me, they understand, they talk to me. You got your rules and your religion, all designed to
Enough.
Veins.
Enough of the Viper. I've heard it so much over the past 12 years or whatever. No more.
He's had that song since
Voices.
2008, not joking.
No more voices in my head. Blee blah blah, blee blah blah blah, blee blah blah blah. No. I'm so tired of Randy Orton as it stands, but Randy Orton's music is just, please go away. It is. I have no honorable mention, by the way. I like a lot of the WWE entrance music, so you're up.
All right. So if I was picking from all music that I would, you know what? I'll save that. Let's just talk about the worst music this year. Okay.
Okay.
Number one to me, and it's not particularly close, is a horrible Godsmack ripoff for a horrible group of that exists in NXT, the Forgotten Sons.
Oh boy. All right. Hold on. We got to play this really quick because I haven't heard this enough. So fire that baby up.
Two on two others.
Oh,
Not good.
It's real bad. It is so
It's not
bad.
good.
It's like some sort of it sounds like a bad Godsmack song, and it's like then those guys come out and it just makes it feel worse.
those guys is nice.
Other options for this year's bad music. Have you ever heard Vanessa Bourne's theme?
I have, and it's so.
It sounds like
Man,
a
I
strip
didn't
club
think
song.
about that. Yeah, it's not good, and she's not good either.
No.
But I mean, a lot of work to do. But yeah, that song's not good.
Really bad. And then two main roster acts that I think have horrible music. The B Team, I fucking hate that.
So I almost put that on the list, but like it's weirdly like kind of fun. So I left it off.
To me,
I'm probably
to me
wrong.
it feels forced. It's like it's
Okay.
like forced fun, and it's like no,
Okay.
and then here's one that like I don't think anyone ever mentions, but it's just randomly horrible. The Riot Squad.
I like that song.
You do?
Yes.
Oh,
I actually like that song.
I think the song is actually fine, but as an entrance music for like what's supposed to be like a anarchy like group of girls, no.
I really like the drums of the
It's just like oi 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 oi. It's like shut up.
Yeah, I really like that song.
All right.
So there you go. All right, now we're gonna do best and worst.
Let's start with
year.
worst.
You want to start with
Yeah,
worst?
that we end on a nice little positive note for this section.
All right, so you sound like you want to take it away, so I'm going to let you have worst entrance of the year.
Without question, Shane McMahon. Not close. There's no one who.
Oh, what do you mean?
There's no one whose entrance makes me go, "Oh my god, please."
Okay.
More than it's very similar to your Randy Orton answer, but like seeing him come out and do the Shane Shuffle with his fucking gray hair and his like paunch belly and his like turning red face immediately, and he's all sweaty. And his sneakers, it's so,
he's all sweaty. It's amazing.
He's like wet. He's like damp. He's always damp, and he looks like he's blown up immediately every time. And like, there's a reason why we say, "Here comes the money." Please no. Here comes the money, because you just don't want. I can't. I don't want to see him anymore. It's so bad.
I'm very much over Shane, so I'm with you on that one.
And I loved that song at one point.
That's because it was a fun song for a while.
Yeah.
All right. My answer, worst entrance of the year, and maybe this is being a little mean, but Titus O'Neil. The slip and fall to straight under the ring.
Picking just one entrance of any one person. Yes, that is my fault.
Well, in this instance, I am. So my backup answer is Randy Orton because it's so slow and so long.
How about a sperm entrance at WrestleMania?
Yeah.
Where it's like the white snake head.
Oh, I remember. Yeah, going down the extremely long ramp.
Oh god!
On its way to an egg to conceive.
Yeah.
Oh yes, I remember.
Oh.
Yeah, Randy Orton is just my normalized answer, but dude,
that Titus greatest Royal Rumble thing. But like that's hilarious, and to me that's not worst because it's so funny that I'll never forget.
It is actually really funny, but you know, I just threw it in here as the worst as the leader, so we have something.
I definitely have a second worst that I think is also really bad.
Okay.
Every time that fucking record scratch hits for Dolph Ziggler.
Oh, for Dolph. Actually, that's the winner. That's the winner, actually. You know, ignore my answer. Ignore
mine too.
Because anytime I hear, I'm here to show the world. I'm here to show no, you're not.
Like,
you're awful. Please go
also,
away.
He's had that music for a fucking infinite now.
Has not shown the world yet.
And also, remember when he had that period where it would be silent?
Unfortunately, I do.
It would do the "I'm here to show the world" first, then the record scratch, and then he walked out silently. That was this year too.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it sure was.
Wasn't he number 30 in the Rumble?
That sounds right.
I remember it was like, and he's making his big return after he left 3 weeks ago.
You know, I love that we love to give the WWE shit, but then when you just kind of look back, you're just like, they were right.
Yeah, Zack Ryder,
nope.
Dolph Ziggler, no.
Yeah, nope. And like Dolph Ziggler and Zack Ryder had a moment together where Zack Ryder beat Dolph Ziggler that I'll never forget because it was so much fun. But still, no.
I mean, Dolph Ziggler has one of the loudest crowd reactions you'll ever hear when he cashed in Money in the Bank.
That's right. And yet, we're good on a heavy push. We're good.
Yeah.
We're all
hard
set.
to take.
Best entrance of the year. I will start here. It is Aleister Black's entrance.
It's a good choice.
I like his entrance a lot. I like when his music hits, the lights dim. There's a lot of ambiance. He's a mysterious character with a great look. The song is very good. I actually lift to it a lot.
The song is very good.
So I'm a big fan of that. And my runner-up is the Undisputed Era. Because I love their entrance. I love the song. I love when the four of them come out with all of their Roddy with the jacket is amazing every time. It makes me laugh every time where he unbuttons the varsity jacket, shows off the belt, and then buttons it right back up because you don't get deserved to see the belt again. You got Kyle O'Reilly. He's out there playing the air guitar on the belt. Bobby Fish is making his absurd looking faces with his eyes. And then old, what's his fucking, I can't remember his name.
Cole, baby.
Adam Cole, Jesus. Adam Cole is doing his Adam Cole, baby, and the boom with the thumb on cue. It's everything that a wrestling entrance is supposed to be. I absolutely adore it, but I'm going to lean towards Aleister Black. Turds.
That was the blackest you've ever sounded.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards.
The Undisputed Era one is really great, and I watched a whole like collage of that, but right before the show today, because I just wanted to watch all the Adam Cole babies.
I've watched that video on YouTube.
It's so good. Fucking loud. It's so good.
Yeah.
My choice for best entrance of the year was Tommaso Ciampa. His silent entrance.
No music, crowd very mad.
Yes.
Yep, love that entrance.
Crowd was so mad.
Yeah, that's a great entrance.
I like entrances that have crowd interaction, and somehow that one had a ton. The other one that I thought was great this year was Ricochet's entrance, especially at TakeOver New Orleans. I thought was awesome, with like the one and only coming down and like the spotlight.
Yeah, no, I like his entrance. I like his song. It's all very much in line for who he is as a character.
Yep, and I did also mention EC3, who when he did his entrance at the pay-per-view was amazing as well. He was so fired up, and like he pointed at.
I'm really excited for EC3.
And he pointed at the EC3 on the Titantron. I thought that was great.
Yep. I'm excited to see what he does in the main roster.
Me too.
Really big opportunity. So those are our entrances and music of the year. Okay, I'm gonna move to inspirational wrestler of the year, and I'm gonna let you begin.
I mean, to me, there's only one real answer, and it's Roman Reigns.
Ooh, I disagree,
because the dude basically held down the fort, carried the company while he had leukemia, and I think that's really incredible. And not only that, but he could have so easily fallen back on that when the fans wouldn't buy in on him as like a super mega baby face, but he never took the easy way out. He still tried to get over the traditional way and like do what was right and just do like not use that as not use cancer as an excuse. And I think that's really, really amazing. And yeah, again, if the dude ever makes it back, I'll probably be his biggest fan. So, kudos to him. Kudos to that kind of thing. Inspires me legitimately in my life. It makes me want to do better. It makes me want to fight through the struggles that I have. And I think that is truly telling about what inspiration is.
Well, in that vein, I agree with you. And that's why I lean towards Daniel Bryan.
He was the only other person I had on my list.
Yeah. Who the long battle back, the long road back to being able to wrestle again. I'll never forget the night that Kevin and Sammy beat him down on SmackDown when he fired them, because I was like, dude, this guy just loves this shit. Because obviously, when everyone knows that he's clear to come back, they have to announce it, and they do. But it's just like, okay, so like, what's it going to be like? And it's like, nah, you're just taking a beating from Kevin and Sammy. Like, if he's back, right? He can do everything.
Right.
Or he can do nothing. And so it's just like, Daniel Bryan is one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, because he knows that he is there to put on a show, first and foremost. And he always puts the show, I think, before himself. So it would have been very easy for Daniel Bryan to stand tall on night one. Mm-hmm. Absolutely not. Daniel Bryan does not stand tall on night one. He knows it's in the chase. The heels have to get over first. That's the most important thing. And now that he's healing it up again as the new Daniel Bryan, whoever's going to get over on him is going to get over big time. But for now, he is healing it up, and I feel like he's having the time of his life right now.
Yeah, he for sure is. And he's definitely belongs on the list for the perseverance in coming back. The only reason I didn't pick him over Roman, but outside of the fact that Roman's condition is life-threatening, is that I'm not still 100% sure that Daniel Bryan should have come back. I'm worried for him every time he takes a bump. And that is hard. And if it was 20 years ago, we wouldn't even think about it. But because of what we know about concussions now, I get nervous. And while I'm extremely inspired by the fact that he never gave up and continued to chase his dream, and his comeback speech was amazing, I just have a little bit of fear, I guess.
That's totally reasonable. But as it stands, and he did a podcast recently where he was talking about when he came back, he kind of felt trapped with having to play the same character, which I think is actually true. Like, everyone kind of wanted him to come back, and we wanted to be able to do the Yes thing, but realistically, the Yes thing was just still going on while he was the GM of SmackDown and everything. So it was actually just kind of played out and kind of boring. So, like, the feud with Cass obviously did him no favors, but this version of Daniel Bryan, this new Daniel Bryan, the heel, I think people don't realize sometimes, like, he's a really fucking great heel.
Yeah, he got over as a heel. He was a very generic white meat baby face in the company before his heel stuff. He was doing the yes chant first, but it was really the no chant that got the yes chant over.
Yeah. So, like, he's weirdly just, I think he's actually, when we go down and look at it in history, like, everyone's going to remember the yes movement, but the things I remember from Daniel Bryan is, like, the no chants or the yes chants screaming in your face when he is a heel, or cheating or winning with a roll-up or something.
Yes.
And now this version of him, which is like yelling at people for how they act how it's affecting the environment, and he's going to be the small package man again, which I cannot wait for him to keep pinning people with the small package. It's subtle things too, right? Like, it was the yes lock, and he's like, actually, it's the LaBelle lock again.
Yeah.
So
the yes movement is dead.
You know, the yes movement is dead. So it's back to being the LaBelle lock. Thank you very much, and just stuff like that. I love it. I'm glad he's back. It's inspirational. Let's go to comeback of the year.
I had Daniel Bryan for this.
I see.
But since we just talked about Daniel Bryan, I'm going to talk about, I think Tommaso Ciampa's comeback from a severe injury to go directly from being on the shelf to being arguably the best heel in the company is truly awesome.
That's my answer.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's Ciampa over Bryan. For everything that you mentioned, he was gone for a long time, and we were all kind of anticipating what would the comeback be like, because we haven't really seen Ciampa in singles matches.
Right.
You know, can he hold his own as a singles wrestler, or does he need to be with Johnny Gargano and DIY to actually make this work? We have learned very quickly that he does not need Johnny Gargano at all.
I mean, it doesn't.
It
doesn't hurt him to have matches with Johnny Gargano, but
no, it does not. But as we saw with his feud with the Velveteen Dream, he can carry the mic and the matches by himself just fine.
Absolutely.
Just fine. And that's great to see him be able to bounce back. And you know what? It's also awesome, too, because we've seen some wrestlers come back. When they come back, they're not in that good of shape. I'm thinking of you, Edge. I'm mostly thinking of Edge right now. I am mostly thinking of Edge.
I like that Edge is just getting called out here. Kind of randomly.
Calling out Edge. I'm calling out Edge. One of the times he came back, there was just definitely some belly and no interest in removing said belly. And it's just like, Edge, come on, dude.
Oh, yeah.
But Ciampa came back and he was fucking cut.
Yeah.
He was cut and ready to go. And he still looks great and he's still killing it. So that's my comeback. Now,
I'd like to make a quick honorable mention, though.
Sure.
Because I have had a hard time giving this guy credit over the years. Dean Ambrose, his comeback, even though the last month has been Vaccine Dean, which is not my favorite. As far as
Vaccine Dean is so
as far as the thing that you just said about coming back and being in good shape, he came back in much better shape than he left. And he looks much more intimidating. His offense looks much better. And I have to give him a lot of credit. He took something that was a constant criticism of him and turned it around.
Yeah, he did. He did. You're right about that. Can't give him any beats about that. Dean does look fantastic. Now, Vaccine Dean, it's gonna be a no for me.
Yeah, Bane Dean.
Bane music Dean, Sirens Dean. I'm not really much of a fan.
No.
But I don't think I actually just don't think we can have like Cactus Jack Dean, like Psycho Dean in the We're on USA Network and Work from the PG era.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's the other thing is like I'm pretty sure that the Authors of Pain are not called that because of like Mattel and just the PG era, because like Authors of Pain just sounds too violent. Well, you're the author of pain. Look, I'm not saying I agree with it, but would it surprise you if they're just like, yeah, we got to change it? Because like think about it, they don't call Seth's move the curb stomp anymore.
No, they call it the stomp.
They call it the stomp. They don't call it the blackout. They literally just call it the stomp.
Yeah, because, well, And it's possible. Either way, it's so bad. I hate that kind of stuff annoys me because it's a fucking fighting show. Show's about fighting. It's about imparting pain upon your opponent.
Yo, kid friendly.
Fair enough.
Kid friendly beats. That's all.
Remember when they had that show
All
on
right.
Saturday mornings, like Saturday Morning Slam, and it didn't show any of the actual like fighting except for like literally like clean wrestling holds and a finisher. That's all they would show.
Yeah. Those were the days.
Yeah.
Not really. That show was not good.
No, it's horrible.
But it was something to watch. I'm going to go to, let's see. Let's go to Feud of the Year.
All right. You can go first.
Tommaso Ciampa, Jonathan Gargano.
Yeah.
Is the Feud of the Year. Not by as much as you would think for me.
Mm-hmm.
It does win for me. It's been very entertaining. There's been a lot of build to it, all this other stuff. Because there were some feuds that could have really blown off, but didn't blow off in the way that I was hoping for. Mostly Daniel Bryan versus The Miz. Didn't blow off the way that I was hoping, just wasn't that good.
I don't think it's over.
I don't. Ooh, okay. So we're going to transition to this then really quick. Because I think we both said Feud of the Year is Ciampa Gargano.
Yes.
What do you think's going to happen? You don't think it's over. What do you think's going to happen in that
I think
feud?
it's reversal time now.
Yes, me too.
I think it's time for face Miz versus heel Bryan.
Yes, I'm right there with you. I think that's exactly what's going to happen.
And like, you know, they're going to play up the fact that like the Miz is like a dreamer that made his dreams come true and has been had to deal with a ton of ridicule and stuff in order to make it, and just wants people to like respect him. And Daniel Bryan's never given him even a little bit of respect, and they're going to go down that road, I think.
Do you think this is the WrestleMania match?
It might be. Like I wouldn't,
because I don't know what they're doing with the Shane Miz stuff. But I don't feel like it's going to be something that is like that lasts very long.
Yeah, I think the original plan was to turn Shane on him, but I don't know if they're still going to do that.
Okay.
But yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if it's Miz versus Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania, and the Miz is just like, dude, you're everything. You're everything
you
that
said you hated. Yeah, exactly. You made fun of me for taking shortcuts. You made fun of me for, you know, turning on the fans and not showing respect to the people that, you know, are out here doing their best every week or whatever. And now here we are. I mean, the Miz.
It could work really well.
I would love to see the Miz as the underdog. I want to see that really bad. I mean, the dude has the story to be the underdog. There's no reason why they couldn't.
He's always had the story to be the underdog. He's always had it.
Just let's keep it light on the axe handles and no figure fours.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I am with you on that one. Seeing the Miz have to come back from the bottom as a face, I can't even wrap my head around it because it's never happened.
The dude has been in the company for a long time now, too.
And he's been a heel basically his entire career.
Yeah, outside of that one really random aborted short face run.
Yeah, it was brutal. That's why.
It sure was.
That's why. Okay, Ciampa Gargano for me. My honorable mention is Shayna Baszler, Kairi Sane.
I have that on my those are on my list, and the only other one I had on my list was also an NXT feud, Velveteen Dream and Aleister Black.
Ooh, that was a short one, but a good one.
Really good feud. Really good. Like their interactions are really good whenever they deal with each other too, which I think is great. So, yeah.
Yeah, Ciampa Gargano, that's premium television.
Sure is.
That's all.
Yeah, that's like
just premium
storytelling at its absolute finest.
All right, we're gonna go to match of the year.
Oh, we're in the big ones now, huh?
Yeah, and then we'll get to the awards for wrestlers and tag teams.
All right, match of the year. You want me to go first?
Yes, I do.
All right. Well, we just talked about Gargano Ciampa. The one at NXT TakeOver New Orleans was my favorite. I put that as my match of the year. I think it was supremely good storytelling, and it led to a year's like the rest of the year was still just amazing storytelling with these two guys, and the story's still going. It's still amazing. They haven't gotten old yet, and it doesn't feel like we're going to be coming to an end anytime real soon.
We got a long way to go on this stuff. Long way to go. What are your honorable mentions?
Becky and Charlotte, Last Woman Standing at Evolution, really stood out to me as the best women's match of the year, and I loved it. My other honorable mentions were from the same show of NXT War Games, the Dream Ciampa and Aleister Black Johnny Gargano matches. I loved both of them. So,
all right. Well, my match of the year is NXT Takeover War Games, Gargano versus Black. I would like to take a moment here to tell Johnny Gargano, I'm sorry. I am stupid. Do you remember a couple years ago where I was just like, I'm not sure Johnny Gargano's that
I'm
good?
not a real big Johnny Gargano fan.
These are all things that have been that are on tape that I said. Dumb is what you can call me. I think he's like my second or third favorite wrestler in all of wrestling now.
The dude never misses. He never misses.
He never misses. He never has a bad match.
No, and every match has stakes. Every match feels important. Like, whether he's the face, whether he's the heel, it doesn't matter. Every match tells a story. They're all entertaining. The dude does not miss.
Nope. And I was curious about, okay, well, he's going to play heel now. I wonder what he's going to be like as a heel against Aleister Black. Fucking fantastic.
Yeah, how about he doesn't think he's the heel? How about that?
Yeah. Fucking fantastic. And that match moved at such a rapid pace. It was like 17 minutes of nonstop action. And I watched it with my friend Christian in Vegas, and he was just like, holy shit, is this how people wrestle? I was like, not really?
No, it is not.
No, but it's really good. And this also made me just fall in love with Aleister Black, who's also amazing at wrestling and amazing at telling stories in the ring.
Weirdly enough, that actually made me fall back in love with Aleister Black. I think the Lars Sullivan feud kind of soured me on him when it shouldn't have. But everything else that Aleister Black did this year was so good.
Yeah, because like Lars Sullivan is boring and plotting or whatever, and it's just like Aleister Black is so much better than having matches with him. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know, if you think that Lars Sullivan is an asset, let's put him up against someone who's really good and see what they can get out of him. So.
And like the other thing is like Sullivan has to go to the well so many times with like his 5 moves. So
yeah, because he's just not experienced.
Right, he just doesn't have that kind of move set. So it's like, I guess I don't really want him messing around trying new stuff with Aleister Black, but at the same time, it doesn't make for a great viewing experience.
No, it really doesn't. My runner-up here is the Mustache Mountain versus the Undisputed
Good
Era.
choice. Very good choice.
They did a nice job of calling back to the match where Tyler Bate threw in the towel and Trent Seven thought about doing it. And I am still very high on Tyler Bate, who's still a client of BDS Inc. And again, an apology is owed here towards Trent Seven, who...
Well, I mean, he is fat.
He is fat. It's actually kind of funny because, like, when I follow, like, Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate and all those guys on social media, and, like, compared to fucking Tyler Bate, everyone's fat.
Yeah, I mean, Trent Seven's not that fat.
He's really not.
He's not like Cassius Ohno or something.
No, like, he's not like that fat. It's just like, oh, I'm in the ring with Roderick Strong, Kyle O'Reilly, and fucking Tyler Bate. Well, then, yeah, I guess I'm fat.
Right. I mean, how much bigger than Pete Dunne is he really?
Probably not that much. And you know what? And this was the other thing too, is when I watched the UK tournament, I wasn't impressed by Trent Seven's work. Trent Seven can work.
Oh, Trent, he trained all those guys.
I know, but he can. But like when you watch the UK tournament, I was like, 7 stars Lariat, blah blah blah. Not really saying much here. In a tag team with those dudes, man, that dude can fucking.
And he's
work.
another great storyteller as far as like in-ring story, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, I loved it. So. That was my backup match. I still love Mustache Mountain. I hope they get more time on NXT and the main roster and stuff. So good for them. As now we're gonna go to our individual awards. I want to start with
first, right?
Of course. What do you think, this is amateur hour?
I mean, do you remember the first intro of this podcast today?
No, and neither does anyone else because they can't hear it. Yeah,
Cedric.
Tag team of the year for me is the Undisputed Era.
Yeah, I have the same.
They are the most fun. I'm not sure if they're going to work Bobby Fish back in or not, but between Kyle O'Reilly playing the guitar, Roderick Strong, who is just that man, you want to talk about someone who can work? It's just not even real.
Talk about someone who we were both kind of wrong about as far as his ability to do it in a WWE setting, because he's found his niche and it's working out really well. I put the Undisputed Era first as well, but I wanted to make specify that it actually is the Kyle O'Reilly Roddy version that I like best.
Yeah, I think that's my favorite version too. Do you have an honorable mention? Because I have one.
I do, and it's only because they've already had their career renaissance, but I've said it many times, they're really, really good ring workers, and it's the Usos.
Wow, you actually have the Usos
Yeah.
too? That's insane. That's my other answer.
Yeah, like they deserve a lot of credit for like never ever. They're another group that never fails to put on a good match, and they make everything seem like it matters. They're good at it.
They're just fun.
Yeah, they're fun. They're fun workers. I like that they kept most of their heel moveset, even though they went back to being faces, because that moveset's way better than their just like nonstop super kicks and dives.
Yep.
And then like they can throw that in here once in a while, which is good. And I also I special shout out to the New Day too, because they're selling a lot of merch. They're still putting on good matches, years after teaming up. And like it's nice to know it's even though I'm tired of seeing the same stuff over and over again, it's comforting to know that like these guys are super talented and still get to like ply their craft.
Dude, I am impressed that we both put down the Usos as our runner-up. I'm really surprised by that. Like, I thought about the bar a little bit.
I refuse.
I got no problem with the bar, but the bar doesn't do anything for me.
Me neither.
And then as I was perusing the NXT tag teams, I was just like, ugh.
Yeah. No.
I couldn't find anything I like. It was like, and like, I don't have a problem with the War Raiders, but they haven't done much this year. But I was like, Street Profits? No. The Mighty? Half of them doesn't even work here anymore.
Heavy
Who are the
Machinery
tag
getting
teams?
call up.
Getting called up and haven't done anything yet. I mean, Otis Dozovich's Instagram is completely absurd and everyone should follow it. But there just wasn't really that many good selections. Then Raw has like nothing going on in the tag team division.
No, they don't. And then so you got to look at SmackDown and you just got to say like, you know what? The Usos have kept tag team wrestling alive, in some ways.
Male Wrestler of the Year.
All right. You want to go first?
No, this is you're up.
Johnny Gargano.
Ooh.
For the reasons that we just talked about, even though I think Ciampa's character work was better, Gargano's is very close, and in ring work on a week to he worked a lot more matches than Ciampa did, a lot, and was involved in a lot more stories overall during the course of the year from start to finish. He had some matches with Almas that were insane. Just overall, I love Johnny Gargano's work. I think he is the best wrestler in maybe not in the world, but definitely in the company.
Okay. I'm gonna change my answer.
Who was your original answer?
AJ Styles.
Okay.
Because my answer is either Ciampa or Gargano, and I think actually it's Gargano now. After like doing this podcast and just kind of thinking about it and talking about it.
Yeah,
more.
you look at his year and you just go like, holy shit.
Yeah, like he had a phenomenal year. Just top to bottom, no misses, all the promos good, involved in two big angles. The angle with Ciampa, obviously, and then the thing with Black.
Yeah, and his own firing was an angle too that was really good.
Yeah, that's true too. Like he just involved but the thing that's also really impressive about him is like the small angles, right? Like the match with like the Velveteen Dream, where it's like, your Johnny Failure. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's just like some of the small ones that like they really shouldn't matter. Like, do you remember the string of matches he had against the two fucking bums, Sabatini and Moss? Yep. And he's just like, I'm trying to get things straight here or whatever.
Yep.
Again, and it's like these two dudes are horrible.
The best thing about them is their car.
Yeah, those two guys are terrible, and he's making those matches like, okay, like I hope you win, Gargano. Like no one should care about that, but he's even making those good. So he's actually I'm with you, dude. He is my male wrestler of the year. I'm there.
Yeah, I mean, I love watching him. I think he's, and of course I'm a little bit biased because I'm from Cleveland and so is he. But like the crowd reaction to him at the NXT house show that I attended was the loudest crowd reaction I've ever heard for a wrestler anywhere. And the fact that Zelina Vega couldn't cut a promo because she was drowned out for 10 straight minutes with Johnny wrestling chants and eventually just left the ring was an unforgettable moment for me.
That's pretty unreal. All right, female wrestler of the year.
Are we going to do worst tag team of the year or what?
I didn't list that.
Well,
oh yeah, we can do worst tag team.
I'll just tell you the answers because they're so good.
Okay, sure, fire away.
I mean, clearly the worst is the Forgotten Sons. They're so horrible at everything.
Yeah, I think they're number one with the bullet, but I got one in the holster here. I've
got two more in the holster that I think are insane.
Okay.
The Colognes, complete. I mean, for the love of God, how did they fucking come out of mothballs for Survivor Series? Does anyone know?
The old standby.
And then my other one, which is a secretly horrible tag team, the Deleter of Worlds, Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt.
That was a horrible tag team.
That was a horrible everything.
Yeah, no one will talk about it. It was horrible.
Angle made no sense. It was so bad.
My answer is I'm just going to keep driving this home. I don't care if he went home because of his kid. Dude, the Mighty are so bad. They were never good at any point. When they were TM61, a name that made no sense. When they were the Mighty and they were being heels and like losing to the Street Profits or having to cheat to beat the Street Profits.
They stole their cup.
Yeah, the angle is they stole their cup. They had to cheat to beat those bozos. I'm sorry. There's nothing mighty about them. I hope that Shane Thorne finds something to do with a singles run. This feels very Aiden English-y to me, though, which is just like, yeah, you work here. Cool. And like,
he'll probably be jobbing for like the next year and a half, and then either they'll find something for him then, or he'll go home.
Yeah, but the Mighty were never a thing, and I guess, like you could argue that Shane Thorne's injury fucked up their push because like they were in the finals of the Dusty Classic against Op before Op
were they
won.
over?
No, of course they were never over at any point. That's the problem,
right?
Because they're super boring faces. Because truth be told, Nick Miller just looks like a boring face.
They're both generic. I mean, they're both pretty generic looking.
But he is literally creator wrestler.
Yeah, he is.
Like Shane Thorne has a tattoo, but like they also used to do. Do you remember when they used to do like that hand motion? Like Shane Thorne would do the hand thing above his knee. Like he'd get on his knee, and I'm doing it right now, where he'd interlock his fingers. What did that mean? What did that mean? You can't just do things that don't mean nothing. They were horrible. Now, obviously, the Forgotten Sons are
they're a different level of horrible.
They're a different breed.
Yeah, like the two guys in the Mighty are both like acceptable professional wrestlers as far as like in ring goes, right? Like they're not good, but they're fine. But like if they were like the local jobbers, you'd be like, oh, okay, like they know how to do their job. Like they can handle their. Is any of the people in the Forgotten Sons reasonable at their job?
First of all, 2/3 of the Forgotten Sons are not in shape.
No.
Cutler and Blake, those guys just aren't in shape.
Wesley Blake has definitely spent a few nights watching 205 Live eating a large pizza and just going,
yeah, like watching the Murph Dog, watching the Murph Dog flying around against Cedric Alexander and just going like, I'll take another slice of the pepperoni, I guess.
Just another, like smashing like a big gulp.
Yep, here I am, just with I don't know, fucking
Jackson Riker,
Jax Garcon, Jax Riker, and Steve Cutler, and we're mad about something, but it's actually unclear what we're mad about.
Actually,
we don't really have a finishing. We don't have a finishing move, and our music is boy, is it bad.
Hey, is that Godsmack?
Yeah, it's they are a different breed of bad. All right, female wrestler of the year. You begin.
This was hard. This was really hard. Definitely some strong candidates. If you wanted to go for best start to finish year, I think Charlotte Flair is the answer, but I still chose Becky Lynch.
Yep. So I got right now in front of me on the Word doc I have open. It says Becky Lynch, parentheses, this is hard. Charlotte and Rousey are also good choices, but I think Rousey's definitely in third.
Yeah, and I have Shayna right behind those three as well.
The highs of Becky Lynch are so high this year, but dude, that most recent performance by Charlotte is just so in my head.
And also, like Charlotte missed like a couple weeks to get her breast redone or whatever. But other than that, she's been there the whole year, like near the top of the card. Whereas Becky was kind of like in no man's land for a little while, and then just broke out of it, which is great. But the cool part is that this wasn't hard at all to come up with a list of like 4 or 5 women that is just like, yeah, these people are insane.
So here's the only thing I dislike about Becky. I'm curious about your take on this. I don't think she's that good of a worker.
She's a very good worker, but I don't think she is as special. But I think you're looking at her through the Charlotte colored glasses.
Okay, which is probably not fair.
It's not really fair. Yeah, Charlotte is like capable of she has no ceiling, capable of literally everything, was born into the business and like has done nothing but live wrestling basically for the last 10 years after she decided she wanted to be involved. And not only that, but there's something to be like the genetically superior thing, even though that's like a little bit weird sounding and a little bit Nazi-ish. It's partially true, right? Like, her dad's Ric Flair, arguably the greatest worker of all time is her dad. Like,
yeah, that's true.
And he's an amazing promo. Like, she got to watch. She knows exactly what it takes to be great at wrestling, and she has all of the tools to do that. So, like, and then she also understands that, like, she also is like a much more athletic person than Ric Flair was. So in the modern era, like, she was a gymnast, so she can randomly do a bunch of things that, like, someone her size has no business doing. It's hard to argue against Charlotte's ring work. The reason why I say that you're looking at through Charlotte colored glasses is that Becky Lynch is a really, really good wrestler, but I actually think she might be the fourth best of the four horsewomen actually in the ring.
Yeah, so, okay, I want to clarify really quickly. And no, by no means am I saying that she's a bad worker. It's like when you're comparing her to maybe the best women's wrestler, potentially of all time.
Yeah.
Like ring work with
at
Charlotte.
Least U.S. women's.
Yeah, so when you're compared to her, it's not particularly fair. And she might be, like, you might be right, she might be the worst of the four, because quietly, like, we haven't really seen much of Sasha and Bayley recently.
Yeah, we know I can tell you who isn't female wrestler of the year. Bayley. She had a horrible year.
Yeah, she had a truly horrible year, but I think when people forget that, like, yo, Bayley can work.
Yeah, Bayley and Sasha
can work.
Match that was fucking insane.
Yeah, like, they can both really, really work. And I'm not saying Becky can't. And you know what? Of the four people, Becky has the best character, at least for right now.
And it's not really close, actually.
At least for right now, because you know what? If they wanted to turn Sasha heel and really heat her up, she could be an elite character in an elite heel.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, I don't know if there's anything they could really do to turn Bayley up. No, outside of, like, working her down.
The thing is that Becky did this herself. She turned this character around, like, she made this character and has embraced it and made it her own. So I have a hard time not picking her as female wrestler of the year, because she connected with the fans on a level that Charlotte still hasn't yet. And I mean, maybe will never. I mean, if Charlotte goes down as the Triple H to Becky's Rock or Stone Cold or whatever, that's totally fine. Triple H is
that's great.
Immediate Hall of Famer, and you know was a great performer during his era, and he had great longevity. But, like, I don't know if she'll ever have the peaks that Becky has.
I think you might be right. So,
what?
I mean, to me, it's splitting hairs. Like, I have Becky Lynch as the winner, but it's so close.
Women's wrestling, I said this on Twitter recently, I think is entering the true golden age in U.S. women's wrestling. It's you can say it started in 2015 with, like, the Becky and Sasha stuff, but
we're hitting our stride now.
But now we have, like, this deep roster where there's, like, we got 20 women or whatever that can easily, like, be on the show every week and work good matches. Like, Sonya Deville would have easily been the best women's worker in 2009 or whatever, outside of Beth Phoenix. She would have been the best women's worker in the company by a lot. And now she
and you know what? I actually think Sonya Deville is going to be pretty good.
I do too. But, like, hell, Mandy Rose is a perfectly competent women's worker with a good character.
Yeah.
Naomi is like a former 2-time champion who has athleticism legitimately out the ass.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, they just have this group of talent. I think they're making a huge mistake. I guess the part of the problem is they need the women on the shows to help carry the shows. But I would love to see an all-women show.
I would love to see an all-women show, but I think they need the women to help carry the shows too, but also just you want women on your mainstream show.
Well, yeah, exactly. Like, they need to have that. So it's like it makes it hard. You know what? Here's the idea that I had, and tell me what you think of this. I think they should do something similar to what they do with TakeOver with the women. They should have quarterly shows, quarterly pay-per-views that are women only, on, like, network specials on Sunday nights, maybe in some smaller arenas. I think those would do phenomenal. You put the women in Hammerstein Ballroom in New York, that place will be rocking like crazy, and it gives them a place to blow off some storylines and give the women a little bit time to have some longer matches.
I could be interested.
I mean, then
I mean, anything's on the table.
I would like to
now.
see a bonus show for women somehow. And I think that's the way you could do it.
Yeah, I think that the biggest thing to me is like just, I think, you know, you don't want to do too much too soon, basically. And I think they've done a decent job of this looking back of just like, okay, we're going to have a main event takeover. Let's see how this goes. And we're going to have him, you know, we're going to have him close like when Charlotte and Sasha closed, I think it was Hell in a Cell. You know, like they kept giving him opportunities slowly but surely. Because like, let's see if you can do this. Because I don't want to just throw a show at you.
And then like then they did the women's
fails.
Rumble where that main evented.
And so they just did like a little bit of this, little bit of that, keep ramping it up a little more and a little more and a little more. And now, you know, they did Evolution, which went very well. It's a great test to see exactly like what kind of audience do we have for this? How well is it going to go? All this other stuff. And then now it's just like, okay, yeah, like my favorite part of the last show, outside of how good the last match was it was a no-brainer.
That should main event.
That was closing. Right. That Asuka, Charlotte, and Becky is closing the show. Like, think about that 5 years ago.
Right.
It's like, I don't know, maybe the third match?
And they're closing
match? Maybe the cold
They're
match?
closing over Daniel Bryan AJ Styles.
Yeah, like that's the match where people are just going like and they're chanting during the Seth Rollins match where it's just like, hey, I kind of came here to see Charlotte, Asuka, and Becky do their thing, which is unfathomable.
Can you guys get out of here or
Yeah, that's unfathomable to think about 5 years ago.
Yeah, and I love it. And I think I would be, like I said, I would be really happy to add, like, I think they should turn Evolution into the women's WrestleMania. Like, make it like the big show that that would give them something perfect to build towards in that weird period after SummerSlam. You know, turn the focus of the shows to the women. Maybe dial back some on the men. Like
dial back on some of these shitty storylines.
Like, I don't need to see Dolph Ziggler can have a couple months off. Like, let him have 2 months off. Like, you've been talking about doing something like seasons for a long time in wrestling, and I think that would be a great way to do it.
It would be nice. Just a little less of Dolph Ziggler. We're mostly targeting you, Dolph.
Yeah, as usual.
And by 2 months off, you mean 2 years off. Okay. Wrestler of the year.
Overall Wrestler of the year?
Mm-hmm.
So, for me, what this means is the person who, when they were on the screen, they entertained me the most for the year.
That's me too.
And for me, that answer is Tommaso Ciampa.
That is my answer as well.
Because while I thought that Johnny Gargano was the male wrestler of the year because in the ring he was involved in more things, Ciampa had a burning hot peak that is still going.
Zero missteps.
Zero missteps. Zero character missteps. Doesn't misstep on social media. Nothing.
It's been perfect ever since he's come back.
Yes.
Every aspect of his character, all of his ring work,
his look,
healing it up. Yeah, it's all unbelievable.
He looks like a little bit like he's like a little crazy with his beard and stuff, and then like his body is in the shape he's like carved from stone, and it all works. Everything's working. The dude is look. If you took nothing away from this podcast, if you don't watch wrestling or you're not a huge wrestling fan and you've sat through 2 hours of us talking or whatever, if you're not watching NXT every single week, you're making a big mistake.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to watch SmackDown or Raw.
Take your
or 205 Live, nothing else.
Just do this from now on. Take your 3 hours that you spend watching Raw. If you're a casual fan and you watch Raw, or if you spend a lot of time watching Raw, take those 3 hours, take them back to yourself, and use one of those hours to watch NXT every week.
That's it.
And you will be a much happier wrestling fan.
Yeah. I wholeheartedly.
And don't worry, if anything good happens on Raw, everyone will let you know. You can watch it later.
Yeah, you won't miss it. You won't miss it. You'll find out on social media or whatever, and you won't be mad that you missed it live because it probably, as good as it may have been, it probably wasn't that good. So you're not missing anything, but missing out on NXT every week is. I have to watch yesterday's episode later today. I'm very excited to do so, and it's just this has been the year of Tommaso Ciampa.
Yeah, it is.
It really has been. There's been a lot of good wrestlers, a lot of great stories, so on and so forth, all of which we just kind of summarized. But Mr. Ciampa, Some impressive fucking shit, man. I did not know he had this in him.
I didn't either, no.
That was the other thing, too, because it's totally conceivable that this feud just kind of ends up being meh. It was conceivable. There's a part of me that believed it could have just been like, well, I don't know if this Ciampa guy's good enough to do this on his own. We was wrong.
Yeah, he is, and they are. And this is like the dream scenario for WWE, in that they've had these guys carrying their developmental show for a couple of years now. And they're going to have this entire backstory on WWE produced footage that they own. They stumbled into this. If you remember, when they hired Gargano and Ciampa, they were not even a regular tag team on the Indies.
Mm-hmm.
So they have this whole, like, the whole Sami Zayn Kevin Owens feud that happened mostly on the Indies. They don't have the rights to that footage. What they do have the rights to is every single thing that happened between Gargano and Ciampa. And that's going to be amazing as they go forward, because this is a story. These guys are still young enough; they could help to carry the company and move it forward with their rivalry over the next 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, they have footage from the Cruiserweight Classic. Yep. They have footage from the Dusty Rhodes tournament. They have footage for all of their tag team matches, the breakup, the individual matches. Now, like, Gargano coming into a heel and kind of understanding what Ciampa's doing. Like, they have it all. They have it all, which is so incredible and so powerful. And, I mean, just when these guys get called up the main roster, it's going to be something.
It sure is. It really is going to be something.
It's going to be something.
And, I think that they'll be linked for the rest of their wrestling careers, but I don't think that's a problem. I think that it's okay to do that. And I think that they will be separated at some point, to get a break or whatnot. But I think that they will have they have made their careers with this feud.
All right, last question. Who is your prediction for the wrestler who will surprise you the most in 2019? I just thought of this right now.
Okay. Wrestler that will surprise me the most in 2019. I'm actually gonna go with a crazy pick. I'm gonna go with Mike Mizanin.
Ooh, okay.
Because I think this face run is gonna work this time. I think they're gonna give it their all if they decide to do it, and I think it's gonna work out great. I think he's gonna continue to cross over as a legitimate star. I think the reality show that he's on is really funny and is showing off his charisma really well. And I think he'll continue to get he might start to see some more movie roles for him too.
I'm very excited for the return of Sami Zayn.
I sure hope so.
He's too good. He's too good at this not to be a bigger star.
Well, I hate to say I want to agree with you really badly. Let's just put it that way. But there have been times where I thought the guy couldn't fail, and WWE booking, well.
I just have a weird thought. No, nothing past that. I just have a weird feeling that this is going to be a really good year for him. With that, our hour and 45 minutes are up, folks. He's Joey Bags at Sirplease, SIRPLSS. On Twitter, I'm Cedric Phillips at Cedric A. Phillips on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. That one too, even though I barely use it. Cedric Phillips podcast is in the books. We will come back at some point in 2019 and gear up for some more wrestling conversation as the Rumble's almost here, dude.
Sure is. I'm getting excited for that, and overall, I just think this was one of the better years for in-ring wrestling that we've ever had. And the NXT product was truly, truly phenomenal. And again, just go watch it.
Go watch it and tell Kona Reeves we said he's the finest.
And also tell him we said hi.
All right, folks, I hope you enjoyed our first of what could be many award shows. I'm surprised we've never really done one of these before, but there it is. Congratulations to all of our award winners. It was a really fun year in wrestling. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, but by and large, wrestling still continues to be pretty fun, especially the NXT product. And of course, if you're not watching it, you absolutely should be. You can certainly do without Raw and SmackDown, to be sure. I am recording this outro live on the floor at Grand Prix Vancouver, getting getting ready to play round number 1 of my Team Sealed PTQ, so that's why you hear a bunch of background noise, but had to get this in and record it on my phone so I could have this episode be timely. So hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed all the content we provided for wrestling all year long in 2018 and gearing up for a pretty fun 2019. And hopefully the WWE is too, but you know, when they kick things off with the Rumble, it's generally pretty exciting times. If you liked what you heard, you can find the podcast on Stitcher, SoundCloud, iTunes, the podcast app. And of course, you can become a patron over at patreon.com/the Cedric Phillips podcast. And also subscribe and leave a review on iTunes. That's the last one. 5 stars if you like. A bunch of new content coming out in 2019. Very excited for the new year. Lots to share with you guys, especially at the beginning of the year during week 1. So keep your eyes peeled for that, and you'll hear from more of me and Joey Bags in 2019. You guys rock. Thanks for listening.